decided, and the wording was clear, Daniel Jones is the starter this season. What it's telling you, it's sending a message. And the message is Anthony Richardson, he's a backup. When Kyle Shanahan moved off Trey Lance, did not want to. They gave up a lot of picks. It signaled to the league is Trey's not a starter. He can be a backup, good kid. And so somebody, like when Netflix passes on a script, there's not a long list of mega hits from the Netflix recycle bin. They know what they're doing. You know, when the CEO and insiders are selling company stock, nobody knows the company better than those people. You may not want to buy a ton of it. And so I think, a prime example is Colin Kaepernick. When Colin Kaepernick had Jim Harbaugh, he was 25-14 and got to conference championship games a couple times in the Super Bowl. Without Harbaugh, he was not an NFL starting quarterback. He was 3-16. Quarterback rating in the mid-80s. Colin Kaepernick, his career was a mess down the stretch. Harbaugh made him a Super Bowl quarterback. You took Harbaugh when Harbaugh bailed, thought he was, said all the right stuff, but distracted, inconsistent, kind of only had a fastball, not real nuanced as a thrower. The minute Harbaugh moved off him, he was a wreck. And like Anthony Richardson, this idea that he's going to go somewhere. Shane Steichen took Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts, before Shane Steichen, completed 52% of his throws. He completed 66.5% with Shane Steichen. So it's one of these things where don't outthink the room. Don't outthink the room. Is that, and I think Kaepernick's better than Anthony Richardson. I'm not saying that. But if you look at his numbers without Jim Harbaugh, they're kind of Anthony Richardson, a big athletic guy who's not terribly deft at the pocket stuff, not great at it, and doesn't win a lot of games. And again, Kaepernick is better than Anthony Richardson, but I think when somebody that really knows an industry or is like an insider, and Shane Steichen knows quarterbacks. Look at his numbers with Hurts and Herbert. He knows what he's doing. Shanahan made Matt Schaub a Pro Bowler and Matt Ryan an MVP. That's why it was inexplicable. The Cowboys were like, we'll give you a 4th-round pick for Trey Lance. Trey can be a backup. Jim Harbaugh's like, hey, put him on the squad. I got no problem with that. But to me, it's like Anthony Richardson's not going to be a starting quarterback in the league. Well, he's young. Nobody cares about age.
Yeah. The problem with Anthony Richardson at this point is that he fails the ability to be able to run the offense, to be able to execute it. And he's shown no growth and development in that. He's athletic. He can throw a ball like the best of them. But then he's also wildly inaccurate. And he too regularly makes the wrong throw at the wrong time and misses the right throw at the right time. And you can only get away with doing that for so long. Because the team understands it as well. And this is what I said last year when we were talking about Anthony Richardson. I said, Shane Steichen needs to put the quarterback out there that is best for the team, that can run the offense. Because the players are going to be like, we need someone who can run the offense. That's what we need. And Anthony Richardson, in his one preseason game, immediately shows he can't. That sack, that hit was on him. It was 100% on him. And to still be making these mistakes and having these issues, you have a shorter runway. It's okay if you make that mistake when everything else is fine. But that's not the case. And like I said last year, I said, this team, they're not part of the Anthony Richardson story. They're part of their own story. They're not here to be patient for AR. They're just not. Nobody is. They're there for their own journey in the NFL. And Shane Steichen, it's unbelievable because I've seen a lot of Colts fans try to push back on Shane Steichen. And you can push back on his ability to be a head coach, that's fine. But he knows quarterbacks. He knows quarterbacks. And he did special things with Jalen Hurts and Justin Herbert. two completely different quarterbacks. But you got to give him something to work with. You got to find the quarterback. And even though Daniel Jones might not have the sense of as high of a ceiling as, say, of an Anthony Richardson, there's a lot more trust that, like, we're speaking the same language here. We're speaking the same language. And when you come off of a drive that comes up a little bit short, the conversation that I'm having with you now on the sidelines, we can find ways through it. You can accurately explain what you were confused with, where something went wrong, what you were thinking in this situation, and we can now have this back and forth conversation that helps facilitate our offense and our team. And there was a fundamental lack of ability to do that with Anthony Richardson and Shane Steichen. And that's why you essentially saw zero growth and development. Like zero. And yeah, it's a bummer because he does have there is that sense of such potential, and his athleticism is off the charts. And he's had plays where I said, you watch him make a throw and you're like, this might be one of the greatest throws I've ever seen in my entire life. But being a quarterback is so much more than that. It's so much more than just the physical skill set. And that's what's frustrating. And people take that stuff personally, and they need not. They need not. I mean, with Gardner Minshew, they were a play away with Shane Steichen of making the playoffs. And beating the Houston Texans. That was with Gardner Minshew. I mean, that's the power that Shane Steichen can do. And he's doing everything he can to make this work, and it's not. And that's why people are like, well, why wouldn't you start Anthony Richardson? He can't for the sake of his team. That's what I'm trying to emphasize. The team will be like, no, like, what are you doing? I understand you want to develop this quarterback, but no, not on our time, man. You got players that are at the end of their career, the beginning of their career, trying to make money, trying to fight for a new contract, trying to win. Like, they're not here for the Anthony Richardson story. They're just not. It's not how sports works. It's just not. Sports can very much remind me of the stories of when, maybe you've even experienced this in your own life, when someone gets sick or someone gets injured in your life and you feel really bad for them, obviously, right? But, like, it's not your immediate life. You still have to live your life. You still have to wake up and go to work. You still have to shower. You have to brush your teeth. You have to eat. You still have to. I mean, as someone like me who's been injured so many different times, it's like I see all the people around me like, oh, I'm so sorry. Are you okay? Oh, you got to be in bed now for the next few weeks. Oh, you're getting surgery. Oh, that's so bad. And it's very nice. I feel the compassion and the empathy and all that. But they're still all living their life. They still have their lives living as they should. And I've been injured enough where I'm just like, at the end of the day, this is all me. This is my pain, my decisions, my injuries. I'm in my own story. The world doesn't stop. My family doesn't stop just because I got injured. My brother's got to live his life. My mom, my dad, sister-in-law, like all that. So they got to live their lives. It's not like, he got injured. Everyone stop. And that's the way it's for sports. It's like, we can cheer for each other. The locker room could be like, I want Anthony Richardson. I feel bad for him. Or I want to see him compete. I want to see him get better. I want to see him grow. I want. But it's like, if you can't do it, it's like, sorry, bud. I still got to live my life. I'm still trying to compete. I'm still trying to win. I have my own world that I have to deal with. We overlap at times. And I can cheer for you and I can believe in you and want to see you succeed. But, like, at the end of the day, it's like you either got to show up or you don't. And that is what a head coach has to juggle in the locker room. And that's why you're always juggling that with your GM, with the owner. It's just like, what do I owe my team? And it's funny because you probably only ever really see this in, like, movies, and probably bad movies at that, unless you've actually really been in a locker room. But, like, you wouldn't even really get this from your coach either, because this would be more behind the scenes. like where our coaches are like, I owe it to the team to put out the best guys out there. You know, and he's like, I don't know, I'm thinking of some movie where like a coach is like fighting with the owner and the owner's like, you got to start Johnny. And he's like, no, you know, and it's just like, it's you got to put the best group of guys that put you in the position to be the most consistent and high level that you can be. And so it's just like a situation like this is like the opportunities that were given to him were far from perfect, but he had a great offensive coach, a coach who's worked with multiple quarterbacks, enough pieces around you, not with the burden of expectation. And it's just like, it's theirs for the taking. Like the opportunity has been there. It's like, come on. And then you're even going up against Daniel Jones. It shouldn't be that hard to prove why you're the better quarterback over a Daniel Jones. And if Shane Steichen can't justify it, well, then the team can't justify it. If Shane Steichen reaches that conclusion, better believe the team is reaching that conclusion as well. First team, second team, the other coaches, the other coordinators. And so it becomes a frustrating situation. And so, will they move on from Anthony Richardson? I mean, I think it's going to be interesting to see what type of success they can have with Daniel Jones. Because if they're a really bad team and they're drafting high, I mean, they're definitely going to draft a new quarterback. So then this is like, how would they not do that? That, this coming draft, 2026, I guess it would be, is supposed to be a really deep, high quality quarterback draft. And so it's just like, that's what you're going to do. And if you're running, right, if you're the ownership and stuff for the Colts, like, I would not move on from Shane Steichen. I would be waiting to see, like, we have to get this coach a great quarterback. We're going to draft another quarterback and go from there. Because even Daniel Jones is like, do I think Daniel Jones can have some success with Shane Steichen? I do. But is he going to have this absolute reemergence of a career and now be a top 10 quarterback in the NFL? I mean, like, man, it would be quite the story, that's for sure. It would be quite the story. I just don't know if that's necessarily going to happen. So it's like, are they good enough to win enough games where now, like, you can't quite draft the quarterback that you want? And then now you're still kind of looking over your shoulder at Anthony Richardson. You're like, well, maybe by now he's going to be even better, and like you still kind of do this like kind of back and forth type thing where you're like, I don't know. And it's just like, it's so much of it is going to depend on how much success they have this season. You don't want to fall into that trap where you win just enough games to not quite get the quarterback that you have, and you're winning enough games, but it's clear you need an upgrade at quarterback. And if you need that upgrade at quarterback, you're still, it's like that meme where the one guy's holding hands with the one girl and looking over his shoulder at another girl, and you're still going to be looking at AR where you're like, can you be what we hope you can be one day? And it's just, I don't know, you fall kind of in this trap. So it's a sticky situation for them. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Indianapolis Colts naming Daniel Jones as a starting quarterback? Do you think this is the right move? Do you think they need to officially just cut loose with Anthony Richardson, or that there's still the potential for him to be successful and a great quarterback in the NFL? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get into some discussions, let's get into some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all generally feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.